To invite to the stage His Majesty King Felipe VI of Spain.
Ministra de Sanidad, President of the European Society of Cardiology, President of the World Heart Federation, Director General of the CENIC, the Centro de Investigaciones Cardiovasculares, Carlos III, my dear friend Valentín Fuster, Presidente del Comité Ejecutivo de IFEMA, our host here in this fantastic facility here in Madrid, autoridades, dear participants in this Congress, professionals and leaders of cardiology worldwide. Maybe I don't have to say it, but I am not an expert. I am not a cardiologist. I am not a physician. But I am a human being, so speaking from the heart, I hope to say a few things that are coherent with what you are trying to do here and what you are trying to do permanently during your professional lives. Allow me to offer all those coming from abroad and from faraway places a warm welcome to our country, to Spain, and here to Madrid, our nation's capital. I know you're about to leave, but in any case, it's the first time we meet, so welcome anyhow. It is a true honor for me to address you at this special session held on the last day of the European Society of Cardiology Congress. What is probably Europe's largest medical congress has once again been a truly global event. In this Madrid session, with more than 30,000 registered participants from 170 different countries and territories. But apart from the numbers, the view from this stage, which is truly impressive, gives a good idea of the true magnitude of this event because of what you all represent. In a collective sense, this is an enormous and vibrant scientific community coming together, so diverse and so full of young professionals as well. And in an individual sense, well, just think of when each one of you returns to your universities, your hospitals, your clinics, your laboratories, or your offices in public service, to step up your work and continue making medical science and practice an ethical gold standard for society as a whole. Dr. Gregorio Marañón, some of you may have heard his name and have read his works, a preeminent figure in the history of Spanish medicine and thought, once said, the true greatness of science is ultimately measured by its usefulness. There is no greater and clearer example of that than the field of cardiology you all focus on. Therefore, allow me to highlight, very humbly, three basic aspects that I believe clearly sustain and help understand its usefulness. In other words, its greatness. As obvious they may be for you, they are, of course, of huge significance not only for any individual, but also for the entire global community. The first aspect is the treatment of cardiovascular diseases, which are the leading cause of death globally, as we well know, and their consequences in terms of premature deaths, disability, and other irreversible impacts on the quality of life of so many, not forgetting the huge demands and impact and strain placed on our public health systems. They're on the front line against disease, whether you are working in hospitals or research centers. Your talent and hard work is absolutely vital for all of us. The second aspect is, of course, prevention, something I have personally heard so much about from our good friend Valentín Fuster. Although I would go so far as to say that this aspect deserves the biggest attention and understanding if we truly aim to effectively bend the curve with lower costs, both human and financial. Risk factors such as alcohol, tobacco, even vapors or other similar devices, stress, poor or unbalanced diets, especially containing ultra-processed products. Lack of physical exercise, obesity, overweight, hypertension, and sleep disorders, circadian deregulation, may result over time, especially if left unaddressed, in severe illnesses. Here too, by promoting a healthy living, you play a crucial role, something that our education systems should also consider to address in a more serious way. The third aspect is about alerting society to the dangers of exogenous factors, as the Minister mentioned, such as pollution and climate change. Human health is inextricably linked to the health of the environments we live in, and your advice, in dialogue and cooperation with other scientific fields, can help us build a better society that is more aware, more responsible, and more sustainable, and given the close ties between health and well-being, happier as well. Ladies and gentlemen, in Spain, we are deeply proud of our health system, however much we aim to reach even higher grounds. Proud of its exceptional, accomplished professionals, and proud of its technological resources, and proud of the care provided at its hospitals. Public health is one of our greatest collective achievements. Spain, as the Minister has said, set a precedent in Europe by adopting the cardiovascular health strategy in April of 2022. But the advances in our health system are very closely tied to our recent history, in particular to the close to 5 decades of democracy, modernization, and social cohesion with greater rights and freedoms. There are two the most tangible expression of the ethical ideals that guide our actions, because the most advanced societies are not necessarily those with the most material wealth or technology, but rather those that endeavor to meet the needs of all their members. It is a never-ending task, but one that will always be worth striving to fulfill. Ladies and gentlemen, we are living in an incredibly complex times in which it is more important than ever to meet, to discuss between different viewpoints, to share ideas, and to think about the future together. Over the past few days at this Congress in Madrid, you have once again provided us with a valuable example of dialogue, because cardiovascular health, as we are reminded by the theme you chose for this year's Congress, is a global challenge, and because knowledge, when it contributes to progress, should encounter no borders. Please allow me, therefore, on behalf of the Spanish people, to express our gratitude for the more than 1,100 sessions held during these tightly packed days, which I hope have not prevented you from enjoying our hospitality. Thank you, and above all, for your commitment to your profession, to your vocation, for making medicine a constant opportunity for learning. And finally, I urge you to keep this spirit alive, because your achievements and your discoveries, to return to the words of Dr. Marañón, will enhance the greatness of science and will continue to be useful to the betterment of our world. I wish you all, dear participants, a happy and safe return home. Thank you all very much, and congratulations.